You know, it actually worked. YouTube actually allowed me to get this thing rolling here. Don't know if it's YouTube. It's got the YouTube app or something going on here because when I hit go live the first try, it just went in a circle and just nothing happened. So got a little frustrated with it. As you can tell by the title, I will change the title after the stream is over and put it back to something more reasonable. But I felt like I needed to put something out there that reflected my current mode of thinking and my current attitude right now. So that's what we're going for. And it's Toronto and Seattle on a Friday. It is Mark Langston facing Dave Stieb. Stellar pitching matchup, at least on paper, and at least by name and everything like that. So we've got Toronto, first place, or not first place Toronto, but they're chasing first place, 26-14. Last place Seattle, 16-26. To save you from my penmanship, I decided on this one to go ahead and type in the lineups so that everything looks a little bit neater and you can read it better, hopefully. This is game number 291 on the replay. In the Kingdom, home runs are 1-17 for both. Singles are only 1-5 for both. What I have here are the pitcher-catcher hold quotients. It's -2 for Langston, -5 for Stieb. And these are the wild pitch and balk numbers for both pitchers. Stieb's a wild pitch 4, balk 0. Langston's a wild pitch 7, balk 3. I know the 3 kind of got cut off a little bit there, but that's a 7 and a 3. That's what that's intended to be there. All right, so there you see the starting lineups. You got the pass ball ratings for the catchers over here on the side and the T ratings in parentheses. DeWillis is a T19. So we'll keep an eye on that. And I've got the game up on the Strat computer, so we're ready to get this thing rolling. Langston comes into the game 4-5, an ERA of 4.64. Real world, his ERA was 3.84, so he's struggling just a bit. 4-5. He was 19-13 real world. 64 innings pitched, 65 hits, 24 walks, and 70 strikeouts for Mr. Langston. All right, so Tony Fernandez will lead off for the Blue Jays. And Fernandez on the replay is hitting a monster year so far, 371. No homers, 12 driven in. He had 322 real world. And yes, despite all the technical difficulties, that did not deter me from getting my most important equipment here and ready to go. Got to have the coffee. All right, Tony Fernandez will lead us off. This one's underway. 110 against a lefty. And that's a single for Tony Fernandez. So he continues his hot hitting. And now we'll see if he can get a lead. Needs a 6 or a 7 to obtain the lead. To obtain a good lead, I should say, to be clarified. Just to clarify the situation. And that's a 9, so he doesn't have to worry about it. So he will hold. And here is Kelly Gruber, the third baseman. Gruber hitting 333 on the replay. 6 homers, 16 driven in. He only hit 235 real world, so he's really tearing it up. 6-6 against Langston is a strikeout. His first strikeout of the game, obviously, just the second batter. Oddly enough, against a left-hander, the Blue Jays have put Upshaw up to the third position, which I thought was really strange, but that's what they're doing. So that's what we're going to use. We're using as-played lineups. Willie Upshaw on the replay hitting 219, a homer, 13 driven in. He hit 244 real world. Nothing on the Havoc. 2-8, and that's going to be a ground ball to third. It'll be a fielder's choice, 5-4. Can't turn the double play, but they do get the lead runner. Hello, Jeff. Good to see you. 2 down for George Bell. George Bell hitting 280 on the replay, 10 homers, 28 driven in, hit 308 real world. Upshaw, the new runner at first base, and I don't believe he's going to be held. Oh, he will be held. He does have the asterisk there, so they do have to hold him, but he's not going to go anywhere. Langston to Bell, 4-3, and that's a base on balls. So first walk issued by Langston. And that's going to put runners at first and second with 2 outs. Clutch situation now for Jesse Barfield, who leads the league in home runs with 15. He's got 15 homers, 43 driven in, hitting 310 replay. He hit 263 real world. So he's also been doing much better than what his replay stats or what his actual stats would lead you to believe. He's had a good start to the season. That's a 4-3, and that's the same thing we just had, another walk. So bases are now loaded. Second walk issued by Langston, and that's going to send it over to Lloyd Mosby, the center fielder. It is a lefty-on-lefty matchup for Mosby. He's hitting 301 on the replay. 12 homers, 42 driven in. He hit 282 real world. In the clutch, Mosby against a lefty will lose a hit on 3-9. Everything else he's okay, but 3-9 he will lose a hit. That's a 4-7, and that is a ground ball to shortstop X. That's Ramos. He's a 4.36. They don't have Quinones today. They got Ramos, Domingo Ramos, and he's a 4.36. This could come back to bite him right away, making that shortstop move. 4 is going to be tough. Double die cooperates, though. It's a 15. He might have a chance. 4 and a 15 is a G2. Now the error chance. He's got a high error rating of 36, and that's an 11. So E36, there is no 11. So luckily for Ramos, he makes the play, and Seattle gets out of the inning unscathed. Talk about dancing around the problems there, but Langston did it. And Toronto comes away empty-handed. So we go to the bottom of the first. Score Toronto nothing. Seattle coming to bat, and Dave Stieb on the mound for the Blue Jays. Real world, he was 13-9 with a 4.09 ERA. On the replay, he is 5-2 with a 4.30 ERA. 59 innings pitched, 51 hits, 33 walks, and 38 strikeouts. And he does have a -5 pitcher hold quotient. He is a -2, but DeWillis is a -3, so it gives him the total -5. Hello, Colin. Good to see you. Another swig of the coffee while it's warm. And John Moses leads off. Moses hitting 231 on the replay, 2 homers, 19 driven in. He hit 246 real world. It's a 6-3. It's a switch hitter batting left. That's a fly ball right field X, and that is Barfield. He's a 1E3, so we know he's going to get to it with a 1. Checking the E3 for right fielder, the only errors are 15 and 18 and 3. And he avoids that, so he makes the play. 1 down. It's nice having a 1 outfielder. You don't have to worry about whether he's going to get to it or not. He's going to always get to it. So here's Phil Bradley, left fielder. He is hitting 214 on the replay, 4 homers, 13 driven in. He hit 297 real world, so he's definitely underperforming. 1-2, and that's a ballpark single check, which is a 1-5, but that's a 13, so he will foul it out to DeWillis for out number 2. And that's going to bring up Scott Bradley, normally the catcher, but he is playing third base today. He is rated a 4E22 at third base, so he is playing third base today. He's hitting 283 on the replay, no homers, 13 driven in, hit 278 real world. It's a 3-3, and that is a hit by pitch plus injury. So Bradley may have to leave this game, and they may have to bring out the hound dog Jim Presley to take his place. They were trying to give Presley the day off, but with this hit by pitch plus injury, he may have to step into it anyway. So 1-4, he stays in the game. He does not. So Bradley's going to leave. And boy, when you thought Presley was going to get the day off, here he comes right back. He's got to come back into the game as Bradley. And now that's bad too, because that means they do still have Bob Kearney as a backup catcher, because they do carry 3 catchers on the roster, which for them is a good thing, I guess. Presley will not be held. So Ken Phelps is your batter. So on the computer, let me go in here and put in the hound dog as the new runner at third base. For Mr. Bradley. And now the designated hitter, Ken Phelps. Phelps is hitting 241, 8 homers, 25 driven in on the replay, hit 259 real world. Hound dog Presley, let me write this in here. Presley is now at third base in the second inning, right here. Just so we keep track of that. So it's no longer going to be Bradley. It's going to be Mr. Presley. In fact, what I may do to make it easier, I think I'll do this just for my own sake as well as everybody else's, is we'll go ahead and replace these with the information for Presley. So Presley is now your third baseman. He's a 2E24, much better defensively at least, and he runs an 11. So Presley is now the new third baseman. He's at first base with 2 outs for Ken Phelps, the designated hitter. So Presley not being held, no threat to run. 3-5, and that's a strikeout to end the inning. So 1 inning is in the books, and we got no score from the Kingdom. Toronto and Seattle. All right, and now I got it on the computer. I need to put in Presley at third base so that everything is copacetic, which it is. Hello, Tim, Bob, and Miss Kathy. Didn't see. I was kind of focusing on what I was doing with the injury there, so I didn't get a chance to catch you all when you came in. So it's good to see you. A message from me, but you can't repeat it in polite company. I'm not sure what that means, Colin, but I mean, if you want to say it here, you can. If you want to email me or something, I don't know, whatever that happens to be. All right, here's Cecil Fielder, the designated hitter. He's hitting 349. 8 homers, 17 runs driven in. He hit 269 real world. That's a 6-2 for Langston. Ground ball right back to Langston. 1 away. Retiring Fielder. And that'll bring up Garth Clockwork Orge, second baseman. Orge is hitting 106 on the replay. Talk about having a bad year. 106 and 47 at bats. He does have 8 runs batted in, but he hit 210 real world. So definitely struggling. 311, and that's a 1-4 home run, but the double die, of course, when you're struggling, the double die does not go your way. And it's a fly to left field for out number 2. Two down, and here's DeWillis, the catcher. He's hitting 091 on the replay, hit 120 real world. 22 at bats in the replay, he had 25 real world, so this could very well be his last game. I don't know what the transaction is for him, but he's got to be getting close to being at the end if he's getting close to his usage already. 1-4, and that's a strikeout plus injury. Now DeWillis may have to go. How about that? Possible injury for DeWillis. 1-4. And he's out of there. So DeWillis will leave. And they'll have to go with Ernie Witt. They don't like using Ernie Witt against a lefty, but they don't have any choices. The only catcher they have left on the roster, they have 2 catchers, so they're going to have to use Ernie Witt. So Witt will come on as we have double injuries here in the first 2 innings. Good thing I have my correction tape. So we're going to come over here, and what once was a nice clean score sheet, nice and typed out, now is looking a little bit rough. But that means it's used, and that's what's important. So he's a T4. And let's see, he runs at a 10. He is a 2-0-E2. So that's going to change Stieb's hold rating now to a -2 because he's a 0 now. So this becomes a -2, not a -5 any longer. He becomes a -2. So Stieb is a -2 now to update that pitcher-catcher hold quotient. So Witt will catch in the second. All right. So we go to the bottom of the second. We do have a trivia question, top third from Kathy. So all right. So here is Stieb. He'll be facing Alvin Davis. So, but first on the computer, I've got to do the strikeout for DeWillis and then put in Ernie Witt to catch. So 2 injuries already. It's like the demolition league around here with all these injuries. All right. Hello, Mr. ID Jester. Good to see you this Friday morning. When I want entertainment, sometimes, Mr. ID, I go back and watch your rise and fall of the Stratomatic Company videos. Those are quite entertaining. And I must say, I agree with about 98% of what you say in those 2 videos. So people can hate on it all they want, but it speaks the truth. So pointing out nothing against the game itself. It's all about how they do their practice. All right, here is Alvin Davis. Alvin Davis, first baseman. He's hitting .303, 7 homers, 21 RBIs on the replay, hitting .295 real world. 4-5, and that is going to be a fly ball to left field for George Bell. 1 away. There's no demolition league game tonight because of high school football, but I'm thinking about doing one this afternoon in its place. So I'll have to wait and see what my schedule, what I got going on and what's going on. I may do it, or I may just postpone it till tomorrow night. Tomorrow morning, or tomorrow afternoon, I guess it would be at 12 o'clock. There will be the NBC game of the week on season ticket baseball, rather. So we'll have that 2 more weeks of that to go. Yankees in Cleveland, from Cleveland is the game, 1978. Here's Kingery. He's hitting .274 on the replay, 4 homers, 14 driven in, hit .280 real world. It's a 4-3 left-handed. That's a ground ball shortstop X. Fernandez is a 1 E17. A 1 means he's going to get to it all the time. E17, his only errors are 15, 16, and 17. And he's not anywhere close to that, so he will make the play. 2 down. And that will send us to Dave Valley. Catcher Dave Valley. He's hitting .207 on the replay, a homer and 6 driven in. He at .256 real world. It's a 2-6, and that's a pop out to third. Handled by Gruber, and that's going to be a real quick 1-2-3 inning for Mr. Stieb. So now we go to the top of the third, and we do have a trivia question from Miss Kathy. So if you want to pay attention to the chat and be the first to type something in, if you know the answer to the trivia, it could be baseball, it could be about world events, could be anything. So Miss Kathy, you have the floor. Hello, Chuck. Good to see you. While I swig another cup of coffee. ID, I don't know what the typical X chances are. I guess I could go back and look at one of my videos or somebody else's video and count them up, or I could start noting on the score sheet how many X chances. Might depend on the pitcher. All right, here's the question. What is a stag with 12? Wait a minute, hold on. Let me read this whole thing here. What is a stag with 12-point antlers called? A stag with 12. So any deer hunters out there, I am not one of them, but if anybody else out there has some experience with that or maybe knows what it is. I've heard of a 10-point antler, but I've heard of a 10-point. Hunters talk about 10-pointers, but I've never heard of a 12. So that's a new one on me. Of course, that's not in my wheelhouse of knowledge. couple of guesses there. A 12-pack. I'm not sure if that's what it'd be called. A headache is a good one. 12-pack. 12-point antler is called. Don't know. Bob says a deer decker. I can't even pronounce that. I'm assuming a 12-point antler is kind of a rarity in the stag world, I'm assuming. And I probably can't give a hint, because if you give a hint, it's probably going to give it away. So I don't know. Is there a word for 12, like poly something, like a 12-sided? It's called a royal. You could have given me a multiple choice question or a multiple choice of answers, and I wouldn't have gotten that. A royal. So when it goes to the bathroom, is it a royal flush? I don't know. Or I guess if you get poked with, it'd be a royal pain. But thank you for that one, Kathy. I've never heard of that before. Of course, that's not, like I said, it's not my wheelhouse of knowledge. So now we learn. See, you learn something around here. So not just baseball, but you learn other tidbits of knowledge. All right, here is. Well, it's not Ernie Witt because DeWillis struck out his last time. So we're actually back to the top of the order for Tony Fernandez to start the top of the third. Fernandez singled and was erased on the fielder's choice his first time up. 3-10, and that is a fly to left. Phil Bradley will handle that one away. And we go to Kelly Gruber, who struck out his first chance. The only strikeout so far for Langston. 1-9, and he's going to fly to center. 2 down, as Moses will handle that without an issue. Bob says he thinks the X chances are about 15%. Like I said, I haven't sat down, and maybe that's something I should start doing. I know Jeff Guterman used to do that on his games. He would actually log the X chances. So I don't know. Maybe that's something I can do on the side somewhere just to do it. Now, like I said, I think it depends on the pitcher, because I think some pitchers have more X chances than others. Here's Upshaw, 2-5 against the lefty. That's a ground ball to first. Alvin Davis will take it to the bag himself, and we got a scoreless ball game going to the bottom of the third. So Stieb out will face Domingo Ramos, getting a rare start at short. Usually it is Quinones that starts at short, but this time Ramos is starting at short. He had 103 at-bats in the real world, hit 311 with 2 home runs. On the replay, he's only hit a .143 in 21 starts, or 21 at-bats. 3 hits and 21 at-bats. One of those hits was a home run, though. 1-7 is going to be a single. Look at this anti-clutch. If he ever gets in a clutch situation, he's got 4 singles that turn into outs in column 1 in the clutch. So if he ever gets a clutch situation, he's going to be in trouble. But if this one was not a clutch situation, it's going to be a leadoff single for Domingo Ramos. So Ramos will single, and that'll bring up Harold Reynolds, a bunter. So you would think that would be the play to bunt here, as he's not that great of a hitter. He's hitting 242 on the replay. No homer, 7 driven in. He hit 275 real world. And we're going to play, I'm going to use Jeffrey Guterman's little thing here, a 1-3. Toronto will play the corners in. 4, 5, or 6, they'll play back. So they're going to play the corners in. That turns him into a B bunter. Nothing on the havoc. So a B bunter, let's see who fields the bunt. It's a 4. So according to the bunt chart, on a 4, On a 4, it is the 4 is the first baseman. So that's going to be first baseman Willie Upshaw. He's a B bunter, so basically needs a 9 or less to have a good bunt. That's a 6. That's defense. So the defense has a choice. Batter drops down a bunt. The defense opts for throwing the batter out at first or trying to throw the lead runner. Now, Domingo Ramos is the lead runner. He runs at a 12. The first baseman, Upshaw, is a 2. So if we do the calculations, lead runner safe range as running speed. Boy, I can't speak right. Need more coffee, I guess. Running speed -4. So running speed is a 12, -4 is an 8, plus the fielder's defensive rating, which would be a 2, makes that a 10. So you basically got a 50-50 shot. Max safe range is 1 to 10. For example, lead runner's rating is 1 to 14. The ball is bunted to the first baseman whose defense rating is a 2. Lead runner's safe range is a 12. All right, so we got a 1 to 10 for a safe range. So they could throw for the lead runner. They have a 50-50 shot of getting him out at second base, or they can take the shore out at second base. Does anyone want to play manager? Does anyone want to say whether we should throw for the lead runner or just take the shore out? It's a 50-50 chance. Very much a Stratomatic chance, 50-50. Jeffrey says take the shore out. Okay, so it's going to be sacrifice 3 to 4, and Ramos will go to second base. That's kind of the Moneyball philosophy there in that movie, where they said if they're giving you out, take the out. So that's what he says. If they want to bunt and give you the out, take the out. So there's one away, Harold Reynolds with a good sacrifice. Hello, driving. Good to see you. All right, here's John Moses. He flew to right field. That's a Chris Berman thing, driving trio. That's where I grew up, or not grew up, but I followed baseball in the 80s watching Sports Center, and that's before Baseball Tonight came along, just straight old Sports Center. And Chris Berman had a lot of those names, and I just remember that one. So here's Moses. 2-2, and that's going to be a fly to center field. 2 away. So it's going to be up to Phil Bradley. Clutch situation for Bradley. He loses a hit on a 1-7 and on a 2-5 and a 2-10. So 3 anti-clutch results. 6-6, and that's going to be a strikeout for Stieb, and that's going to end the inning. Second strikeout for Stieb. So 3 innings are in the books, and nothing's been decided. We got no score from the Kingdom, which is pretty hitter-friendly with that 17 home run sitting out there. Singles not so good, but the home runs certainly are. So we go to the top of the 4th. Langston back out. And Langston has a fatigue of 8. Steve, fatigue of 6. So Langston can definitely go for a complete game if he's pitching well. Here's George Bell, walked his first time. 2-11, and that's a ground ball to third. 1 away. 1 down for Barfield. That's a 3-2 against the lefty, and he is hit by the pitch. He's not injured, but he's hit by the pitch. So I don't know if that was in retaliation for Toronto hitting Presley or not. But could be. Not going to issue any warnings just yet. Next hit by pitch, there'll be a warning, and the following one would be an injection. But don't want to be premature with that. This is not the Demolition League. So here's Mosby. 4-4, and that's a catcher X. So we're looking at Valley. He's a 2E2. 2E2. 2, and the double die comes up as a 1, wouldn't you figure? That may be an infield single, I do believe. Let's check it out here. Yep, W/S looks like if it's not but it could be a wild pitch, but it could also be a single. So let's see, that's a total of 12, and he's an E2, so there's no error there. but it's a W/S is what we came up with. And W/S is back on this side of the page. With runners on, pitcher uncorks a wild pitch. So there you go. So it won't be a single. It'll be a wild pitch instead. And Mosby is still at the plate. And here is Lloyd Mosby. Hey, Dan, you know what? I'll have to look at the cards, maybe compare some cards and see about maybe there's an X chance on every fielding position. I've never analyzed the cards per se to check that out, but might be something worth looking into. All right, so Mosby up now with Barfield at second after the wild pitch. 6-9, lefty left. It's a walk, so he would get to second anyway on the walk, even without the wild pitch. So Langston issues the walk. That is his third walk in 4 innings, less than 4 innings. And that's danger time because we got Cecil Fielder up there, and he's can put a load on you. 1-9, but he could also strike out. That is strikeout number 3 to go with the 3 walks. So Langston all over the place. 3 walks, 3 strikeouts, and a hit batter. And that will bring up Garth Orge. 4-8, and that is a single to center field. We'll see if Barfield can score. He was not being held. So with 2 outs, he becomes a 15. Not being held is a 16. Moses is a 0 arm. If they throw through, Mosby would take third. Orge would stay at first. But I think with 2 outs, I think you got to throw through. You can't let that run score without a challenge, even if it's a low risk. I mean, getting him to third with 2 outs is not that big. There's not that much of a sacrifice there because Orge won't make it to second. So I think we're going to go ahead and throw through. Barfield again, 13, not being held is a 14, 2 outs is a 16. 1-16. And he makes it. So RBI single from Garth Orge. And just like clockwork, Toronto is in the lead. Going to third is Mosby. Staying at first base is Orge because he doesn't run well. That's my home brew where the runner is not 13 or better. He does not take the extra base on the overthrow. So Toronto with a 1-0 lead, and here comes Ernie Witt for his first time at the plate. He's hitting .305 on the replay, 5 homers, 18 driven in. He hit .269 real world. .58, and that's a strikeout for Langston, his 4th to end the inning. But Toronto breaks through. That leadoff hit by pitch comes into play, and Toronto leads at 1-0 going to the bottom of the 4th. And now the Hound Dog, Jim Presley, gets his first at bat since coming in for the injured Scott Bradley. So the Hound Dog is hitting .218 on the replay, 9 homers, 32 driven in, hit .247 real world. That's a 111, and that's a home run, 1-19. What a way to come into the game. What a substitute he was. Look at that. 111 is a home run, 1-19. It is gone. Presley sends Stieb to Heartbreak Hotel with that home run to tie the game. Home run number 10 for the Hound Dog. And we are tied at a run apiece. 111 was a solid home run. The only thing that would have stopped it would have been a 20, and that was nowhere near a 20. So Presley has tied this ball game. And now here is Ken Phelps, the DH. He struck out his first chance. 5-9, and he will fly to center field. 1 away. And that takes us to Alvin Davis, first baseman. 6-7, and that is a ground ball, second base X. Orge of 4E13. A little iffy. 4-11, though, should be sufficient. 4-11. There's a G3, so that's good enough. That's a 5, though. So we're going to my beta version of a rare play chart instead of the Stratomatic rare play chart. But just for kicks and giggles, we'll look at the Stratomatic rare play result. Batter lines a shot that hits the mound, deflects to the fielder, and makes the play for the out. Okay, so that's what the original result would be on a G3, rare play. But here comes our G3. Batter grounds out with all runners advancing. With less than 2 outs, first baseman loses count of the outs and tosses the ball into the dugout. Runners get another base. If bases are empty, just a standard ground out. Well, the bases are empty. There were less than 2 outs, but the bases are empty. So him throwing the ball in the stands just means they need a new baseball, but it's not going to do anything with the base runners. But had there been a run on base, they would have gotten an extra base on that because he threw the ball into the stands, losing count of the outs. But as it is, with the bases empty, just a standard ground out to first base, and that's going to send us to, or to second base was actually to Orge, wasn't it? Not to first base, it was to Orge. It was to Orge. So Orge was the fielder. All right. Here's Stieb to Kingery. 2-7, and that's a strikeout. And for Stieb, that's the third strikeout, but we got a tie game at 1 after 4 innings of play. Each team matching each other with 0s and 1s. So we go to the top of the 5th. It'll be the top of the order for the Blue Jays. Tony Fernandez. He is 1 for 2 on the day. It's a 1-5, and that's going to be a home run, 1-10, and the Devil dies a 1. So Tony Fernandez, even though he has weak power, he's given home runs on his card because he did hit 5 home runs real world. This is his first home run of the replay. Tony Fernandez, home run number 1 on the season. And this was his 170th at bat. He hit 5 in 578 at bats. So that's about it, not too far off his average of what he should do. So Tony Fernandez, a leadoff home run, and the Blue Jays get that run right back and lead it 2-1. So here is Gruber, 5-7, and that is a ground ball shortstop X. That's going to be Ramos. He's a 4E36. 12 should get past that, though. 4 and a 12 should be okay, and it is. That's an 8. And he is an E36. There is no 8, so it's a good play for Ramos. And Gruber is retired. That'll bring up Upshaw. And Upshaw, 0 for 2. 4-6, and that's a strikeout for Langston. That'll be his 5th as he retires Upshaw. I'll bring up George Bell. Bell 0 for 1. That's a 4-3, and that's a base on ball. So yet another walk for Langston. That'll be his 4th walk to go with the 5 strikeouts. Bell will not be held. And here's Jesse Barfield. Got to be careful with Barfield. He leads the league in home runs with 15. 2-11. And that is a ballpark single check. It's only a 1-5, so that will be a liner to short to end the inning. But Toronto gets the run right back with a home run from Tony Fernandez. And we go to the bottom of the 5th. It's now 2-1 Toronto. And now Dave Stieb has a lead to protect again. And he's going to be facing the bottom of the order, Valley, Ramos, and Reynolds. 1-5, and that's a ground ball to short. Fernandez makes the play there, no problem. 1 away. And that brings up Ramos. 2-6, and he's going to get a single. He's 2 for 2, so Dick Williams knew something starting him in this game because now he's 2 for 2. And here comes Reynolds. He had a sacrifice bunt his first time up. Obviously, with 1 out now, he will swing away. 4-12, switch hitter batting left is a walk. So Reynolds is aboard with a walk, and all of a sudden, Seattle's coming back to challenge. First and second, 1 out. And for Stieb, that is his first walk of the game. He's already hit a batter, but that's his first walk. Here's Moses. He's fly to right and fly to center. 0 for 2. 4-3 is a ground ball shortstop X. Chance for a double play when he got Tony Fernandez sitting there with a 1. So it's possible double play. 1 to 12 might very well be a G1. And it is. But that's a 5. So we're back to the rare play again. Now on the Stratomatic rare play for a G1, there's something about breaking up a double play or something like that. But let's see what the beta version has on that. If run on first, yes, there is. Runner is on first. Batter hits double play grounder. The second base shortstop drops the ball trying to throw to first base. Fielder's choice only. If second baseman or shortstop is a 1-rated fielder, he completes the double play. No runner on first. Ground out runners holding. So it would be a double play, but Garth Iorg has dropped the ball trying to transfer on the throw to second. If Garth Iorg was a 1-rated fielder, he would complete the double play, but he's a 4-rated fielder. So the fielder's choice is what we're going to have. So it will be a fielder's choice only, 6-4 as Garth Iorg. Now, had Iorg fielded it and thrown to Fernandez, him being a 1, he would have completed the double play. But with Iorg being a 4, he couldn't do it. So the fielder's choice, Moses reaches on the fielder's choice, 6-4 for out number 2. But now that's going to put runners at the corners with 2 outs, and Moses now with a chance to get a good lead. Remember, Stieb is down to a -2 because Witt is a 0 arm. He doesn't have that -3 arm behind the plate anymore. Let's see. Moses needs a 2 through 10 or a 12 to get the good lead. And 11, he's picked off. He gets the good lead, but that's a 2. That's a possible balk on Stieb. And that's one thing I forgot to write down. Oh, no, it's balk ratings. He has a 0 balk rating. So no balk rating, but it also means that Moses can't obtain a good lead, so he will hold. And here is Phil Bradley. Hello, Triple G. Good to see you. That's a 1, so it's possible wild pitch on Stieb. His wild pitch rating is a 4. He does not commit the wild pitch, so here's the pitch to Bradley. 2-10 for Bradley, and that's a single to center field, but it's anti-clutch, and we are in the clutch situation. So he will lose the hit. That's a single, but the Omega symbol, don't know how well it shows up on the thing here, but we'll bring it up a little closer for you so you can see for sure what we're talking about with Phil Bradley on that 2-10 right-handed. 2-10 on the right-handed side. You see that on, let's see if I can get it a little bit clearer. I don't know if I can get this thing clearer or not. May have to just suffice with this, I guess. I don't know. But there isn't, trust me, there's an Omega symbol right there. So it takes the hit away, and it will actually turn it into a pop-up to short to end the inning. So what could have been for Seattle, but the anti-clutch comes back to bite them. We play 5 complete, and it's 2-1 Toronto, still hanging on to that lead. Top of the 6th we go. And Lloyd Mosby is your batter. That's thought-provoking, Dan. I'm going to have to look into that myself. I never really thought to look at it before, but I think after the game I will pull a couple of random pitchers out and see what the X chances are. I don't want to interrupt the game now to do it, but I certainly would look into it, and maybe on the next game I'll mention it, what my findings are. Here's Mosby, 2-4, and that's a ground ball to second. 1 away. Oh, cool. I certainly will do that. All right, here is Cecil Fielder. 5-8, and that's a strikeout for Langston, his 6th of the game. So he's held Cecil Fielder in check. Here's Garth Iorg. He has 1 for 2 with a single. An RBI single last time up. 6-8, and that's going to be a base on balls again for Langston, and that will be his 5th walk to go with 6 strikeouts. And it'll bring up Ernie Witt. Hello, Big Van Vader. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. All right, here's Ernie Witt. Struck out his first chance. Board not being held. 5-7, and that's a strikeout for Langston, his 7th. And that's going to end the inning. So we go to the bottom of the 6th, and this is the fatigue inning for Dave Stieb. He does have a 6 right here, so we'll keep an eye on potential fatigue for him. Here's Presley. He homered his first at bat since coming in for the injured Scott Bradley. Here's Presley. 1-9, and this time he will fly to center field for Mosby. 1 away. Here's Ken Phelps. 1-7, he will strike out. And for Stieb, that's number 4 for Dave Stieb. Brings up Alvin Davis, the first baseman. I was expecting more runs, and I know it's a good pitching matchup, but with Seattle's, with both teams hitting plus playing in the Kingdom, I was expecting more offense, but maybe there's still to come. We've got 3 more innings after this. 4-9 is a base on balls by Stieb. That's his 2nd walk. Davis no threat to run, and here's Mike Kingery, right fielder. That's a 5-7, and that's a 1-3 single. That's a 5, so he's going to line it to second, and that will end the inning. So Stieb carries some endurance into the 7th. He only gave up the walk and nothing else. We go to the top of the 7th, and it'll be the top of the order for the Blue Jays, Tony Fernandez, who homered his last time up. His first home run of the replay. He had 5 total real world. He's 2 for 3. 5-7, switcher batting right is a ground ball shortstop extra. Back over to Ramos again. That's that trouble. 4E36 for Ramos. 4 and a 7. May not get away with it this time. Let's see. 4 and a 7. Actually, he will. G3 pound, but nobody's on base. So nobody's being held, so he'll get to it. The G3 pound is irrelevant with nobody on base. That is a 14, though. So an E36 and a 14. He escapes. The errors are 13, 15, and 17, and a 16, but not a 14. So Ramos is able to make the play to retire Fernandez, and there's 1 away. Still a tight 2-1 ball game here in Seattle. Kelly Gruber, 4-8, right-handed. That's a single to center field for Gruber. First hit of the game for Gruber. 1-out single. Gruber could get the lead here. Langston's a -2 hold, but if he gets the lead, he'd start the 19. That's a pretty tempting offer there. So he's going to try for the lead. Needs a 4 or a 5. Does not get it, so he will hold. And here is Willie Upshaw. 3-12 for Upshaw. That's a strikeout plus injury, so we might have a 3rd injury in this game. Strikeout number 8. But it could be a 3rd injury in this game. This is turning into the Demolition League all of a sudden. So Willie Upshaw needs a 1-4 to stay in the game. He doesn't get it, so he's going to have to leave. And Toronto will need a new first baseman in the 8th inning. So we're going to have a new first baseman for Toronto. And we'll see on their bench who can play first base. Well, you got this some guy named Fred McGriff is going to come in and play first base. Never heard of him, but he's going to come on and play first base in the 8th inning, or the 7th inning, rather. So Fred McGriff, the crime dog, will come in place of Upshaw. So we'll make this move on the score sheet. And we'll put in Mr. McGriff. And we'll put in his defensive ratings. McGriff is a 4E25. So a lot worse than the 2E11, obviously. But he's the first baseman you have on the roster, so you had kind of tape is. I'm overusing this tape so much today; it's messing up on me. Let's see if I can get it going here. There we go. Maybe thing wants to go sideways on me. Come on. Technical difficulties with the correction tape, obviously. That's all right. I got correction fluid up here too. I got all kinds of stuff. So McGriff runs at a 10, but he is a 4E25. I've got it enough here where I can at least write this in, perhaps. 4E25, and he runs at a 10. So we'll fudge it that far. How about that? All right. So I have to make that correction on the computer at the end of the inning. So right now, George Bell is your batter. That's interesting, Jeremiah. I'm not sure the reasoning behind it. I'm sure there's some kind of statistical data to back it up. But since I'm playing Super Advanced, might as well go whole hog. Now, I don't do the robbing home runs and stuff like that, but everything else I pretty much do. 1-3, and that's a strikeout. Boy, 1-2 would have been another injury. That's a strikeout number 9 for Mark Langston. And he's pitching a whale of a game. He's just not getting any run support. And now we go to the 7th inning stretch, and we will need to put in McGriff as the first baseman in place of Upshaw. So McGriff will be the new first baseman. And now Stieb will be facing Valley, Ramos, and Reynolds. We are into the 7th inning, so that means pinch hitting time is available if they want to. But Ramos is 2 for 2, so we're not going to pinch hit for him. Valley's 256. They could bring in a pinch hitter and use Bob Kearney as the new catcher. But I think they're just going to stick with what they've got. So Valley will stay in, and he will hit. You don't really want to mess up the pitcher-catcher chemistry, so to speak, if you can avoid it. So here's Valley. And the one die didn't go through, so we're going to re-roll it. That's a 5-11, and that's a fly ball left field X. We're looking at Bell. He's a 2E13. 2 and a 9, he'll get to that. E13 shouldn't be a problem. 2 and a 9 is an F2. Left fielder, E13. And we're looking at an 8. There is no 8, so it's good play for George Bell to retire Valley. 1 away. And here's Ramos. He's 2 for 2 in a rare start. 2-7. He's now 2 for 3 as he grounds it to Fernandez for out number 2. And that'll send up Harold Reynolds. 0 for 1. Actually 0 for 0. He's had a sacrifice and a walk. He has not had an official at bat yet. 3-6 he does now, and he will ground it to second to end the inning. So Stieb continues to keep endurance as he gives up nothing here in the 7th inning. He'll come back for the 8th, still leading at 2-1 as we go to the top of the 8th. And this is the fatigue inning for Langston, inning number 8. We'll keep an eye on him. Jesse Barfield is your leadoff man, and he does lead the league in home runs with 15. And he's got a very friendly home run chance on a ballpark with the 17 there. So if he finds the ballpark blast, like on a 110 or a 310, it could be gone. But we got a 6-4, that's a fly to left. Hauled in by Bradley, 1 away. Big out there for Langston to get to not worry about having to deal with Barfield. Here's Mosby. 4-7, and that's a ground ball shortstop X. Again, we're going back to Ramos. His third X chance, he's made the first two. 4 and a 7. Now it's inching closer to being a problem. That might be a base hit. 4 and a 7. 4 and a 7. No, it's a G3 pound. He got lucky again. That is a total of 12, and he is an E36, and we've already seen on E36, 13 is an error, but not a 12. So nice play for Ramos. 2 outs. And that takes us to Cecil Fielder. That's a 4-9, and that's a 1-4 triple. 5-20 is a double. So a 2-out double for Cecil Fielder. He doubles. And that'll send up Garth Orge in a clutch situation for Orge. Against lefties in the clutch, he is completely neutral except for 112. He will get a hit on 112. Anything else is neutral. That's a 6-8, and that'll be a walk. And now one base runner away, Langston, one base runner away from being fatigued. He's going to face Ernie Witt, lefty on lefty. He struck Witt out twice. And for Langston, that is walk number 6 to go with his 9 strikeouts. So he's thrown a lot of pitches. This may be his last inning, one way or the other. Runners at first and second with 2 outs. Ernie Witt in the clutch will gain a hit on 110. Everywhere else he is neutral. That's a 1-8, and he will strike out for the 3rd time. So he comes in. That's a 10th strikeout for Langston. He comes in to replace the injured catcher and strikes out all 3 times at the plate. Gets the hat trick. Because like I say, he doesn't normally play against tough lefties. He only had 14% of his at-bats against left-handers, but he was forced into duty because of the injury to the catcher. So Langston might come back out for the 9th. We'll have to wait and see. Stieb obviously back out. Has got some endurance still left in him. Top of the order, it'll be John Moses. Due up. He's 0 for 3. 2-4 against a right-hander is a ground ball right back to Stieb. 1 away. Still a 2-1 ball game. Very unusual. I expected more runs than this. I mean, I know both pitchers are good, but I expected more runs. Here's Bradley, 6-7, and that's a ground ball second base X. We're back to Garth Orge again. Orge a 4 E13. 4 and a 9. I think it's okay again. I think it's just a G3 pound, which it is. And that's an 8, and he is an E13. Shouldn't be a problem there, I wouldn't think. Nope. So Garth Orge makes the play to retire Bradley. 2 up and 2 down. And that'll send up the Hound Dog Presley. He homered first time up, then flew to center, 1 for 2. 2-7, he's going to strike out here. And for Stieb, that is strikeout number 5 to end the inning. So we go to the top of the 9th, still a 2-1 ball game. Coming up for the Blue Jays, it's Fernandez, Gruber, and McGriff. So you got switch right and left. They're going to let Langston start the inning. Bullpen activity for both teams going right now. We have left-hander Lee Guterman, not to be confused with Jeff Guterman, who's in the chat, but Lee Guterman is in the bullpen, a lefty. He would be coming in for Seattle if Langston should falter. And, of course, the closer for Toronto, Tom Hinkie, is loosening the bullpen to possibly come in and pitch the 9th inning. All right, so go that top of the 9th. Langston against Fernandez. 112, and that's a ground ball to third. Hound Dog Presley makes the play, 1 away. And that'll send up Kelly Gruber. 3-3 against the lefty. That's a fly to right field. Handled by Kingery. 2 up and 2 down. Here's the crime dog, Fred McGriff. This will be his first at bat. Langston's coming in for the injured Upshaw. McGriff on the replay is hitting 247 in 85 at bats. 8 homers, 16 driven in. He hit 247 real world, so he's right on his number. And he had real world, he had 295 at bats. So it's a little bit more than 25% through of his total at bats. Lefty on lefty, faced lefties only 9% of the time. 6-6, and he struck him out, did Langston. There's a dot there, but he's not tired. He still had some endurance left, so strikeout is good, and Langston's going to go 9 innings and pitch very well, but might take the loss because of no run support. So Langston will go 9 innings, give up 5 hits and 2 runs, both of which were earned. He walked 6 and struck out 11, but he could walk away with a loss. Coming up for the Mariners, 3 left-handers coming up, but the closer for the Toronto is right-handed, Hinkie. They do have a left-hander, Musselman, but he's nowhere near a closer, so Tom Hinkie will be on to pitch for Stieb. Don't want to let Stieb go 9 because that would be 3 past his number. Usually I'll cap it at 2 past whatever that number is. So Stieb will finish up. 8 innings pitched. Only allowed 1 run and 3 hits. That 1 run was a home run by Presley. He walked 2, struck out 5. And so now Tom Hinkie is on to try to get the save. Hinkie in real world was 0-6 with a 2.49 ERA. And we'll see what what his real world saves were. We go to the bullpen for Hinkie. He had 34 saves real world to go with his 0-6 average and a 2.49 ERA. And the replay is 0-3 with 10 saves, but a 5.03 earned run average. So a little bit high on this, but that was from the early season struggles. He has pitched better as of late to lower that ERA. So 20 innings pitched, 21 hits, 11 walks, and 23 strikeouts. So Ken Phelps will be facing Tom Hinkie. That's a 2-7, and he's going to walk Mr. Phelps. And now Phelps will be replaced for a pinch runner because he is the tying run, and they need some speed on the base paths. He's also the DH, so you can pretty much pick anybody you want and let him stay out there as the DH. So the fastest guy they have on the bench is Rich Renteria. He's a 14. So Rich Renteria will come in and pinch run for Phelps. And he will represent the tying run. He also has a chance to get the lead. He stole 1 base in 1 attempt. He only had 10 at-bats all season, but he is on the roster now. So let's bring in Renteria on the computer. I don't know how much I've used him. Probably not very much. Renteria has only had 3 at-bats to this point in the replay. He's 1 for 3. Stole 1 base, like I said, and hadn't been caught yet. But if he doesn't steal, he runs at a 14, which is much better than the 9 that Phelps was representing. Hinkie is a 0 hold, so that would be a 0 total. So if Renteria gets the lead, he's going to get a 20. So you got to try for the lead here. 4, 5, or 6, he gets the lead. 2, he does not get the lead, so he will hold. And here is Alvin Davis, the lefty, first baseman. .412, and that's a ground ball first base C. That'll get the runner to second base. Not exactly a sacrifice bunt, but it kind of serves the same purpose as the only play that McGriff had was to flip to Hinkie covering for the out. So going to second base is Renteria. All right, let me fix something on the computer here. I put in Renteria before I did the other stuff I needed to do. So fix that on the computer. I didn't give Phelps his walk before I took him out, so I need to give Phelps his walk. And now we bring in Renteria as a pinch runner. And then the ground out to first base will get him to second base with one out. And coming up is Mike Kingery. Kingery is 0 for 3 on the day with a strikeout. That's a 1-9, and he's going to fly to right field, out number 2. 2 down. 2 down, and it's all up to Dave Valley. He is the scheduled hitter. Let's see if there's a better hitter that they might be able to go to. He's a 256 hitter. Do they have anybody better than 256 on the bench is the question. They do not. They've got Kearney, who's 170. Quinones is 276. So they're going to pinch hit with Quinones. He's got a better average. If the game goes extra innings, they do have Bob Kearney who can catch. So Quinones will come in and pinch hit for Valley, as they'll go with the highest average they have on the bench. So Valley's getting called back, and Ray Quinones, normally the everyday shortstop, but was given the day off today, but he's going to come in and pinch hit. On the replay, Quinones is hitting 229, 1 homer, 17 driven in. But like I said, it's 276 real-world average. So Renteria leads off second base. He is not being held. So with 2 outs, Renteria runs at a 14. So with 2 outs, be a 16. Not being held would be a 17. So a pretty good chance that he would score. But we'll see what happens. Quinones steps in against Hinkie. That's a 4-6, and that's a 1-6 double, but that's a 9. So he ends up flying to right field to end the ball game. How do you like that? Double dive. Stayed away. Got high enough that right fielder Barfield was able to go get it. And there's your ball game. Tom Hinkie gets the save. And a tough, hard-fought 2-1 ball game in favor of the Blue Jays. And that's the kind of season it's been for Seattle. Close but no cigar. So we go to the box score to finish these things up. And we get our numbers. And figure out the rest of the schedule. So Stieb gets the win. He goes to 6-2. Hinkie picks up save number. Oh, you know what? I didn't put Hinkie in the game. That was bad. I'll have to go fix that on the computer. Some reason I didn't make the change on the computer for whatever reason, but I will fix that. So Hinkie will get the save. I will make sure that happens. Langston takes a tough luck loss. He's now 4-6. Blue Jays left 10 on base. Mariners left on 6. So Blue Jays improved to 27-14. So as we go to the statistics or the standings, Blue Jays now are a half game back of Toronto. They actually have tied the Yankees with 27 wins. Yankees have 16 losses. Toronto has 14 losses. Milwaukee, let me check this out because I didn't do the score here. Milwaukee actually is 26-13, so there's actually a tie for first place. I forgot for some reason I have not input the Cleveland Milwaukee game from earlier in this date in the computer, but Cleveland did beat Milwaukee 5-4 in extra innings. So Milwaukee now is 26-13. Toronto improves to 27-14. So we have a virtual tie at first place in the AL East with the Yankees 1 game back at 27-16. So it's a tight 3-game race. Tigers are sitting there 6 games back, so it's not too far away. Anything could happen. So there are 2 games left on the schedule for the May 24th date, and I will play those offline. Yankees, California, Baltimore, Oakland. I will play those offline over the weekend, and then we'll come back Monday morning. On with the May 25th schedule starting. And on May the 25th, this is the game we have that will start the May 25th block. It is Cleveland and Boston from Fenway Park. Tom Candiotti against Bruce Hurst. That'll be the matchup Monday morning. That'll be the matchup on Monday morning. As far as the Demolition League goes, it is Pittsburgh and San Diego. That'll be the next game. I don't know if it'll be this afternoon or whether it'll be tomorrow, but it will be Pittsburgh and San Diego. Martin Perez on the mound for the Pirates against a guy I've never heard of, Matt Waldron for San Diego. That's in the Demolition League. But for Monday morning, this is the game to look out for. If you're a Red Sox fan or a Red Sox hater, you can tune in and find out what they do. Cleveland got the surprise win against Milwaukee in the last game, so they're going to try to ride that momentum with Tom Candiotti, knuckleballer, getting the start there against left-hander Bruce Hurst. But for today's game, it is Toronto eking out a 2-1 victory over Seattle. Home runs in the game, Tony Fernandez his first, which ended up being the game winner. And only run of the game for Seattle was Hound Dog Presley. Player of the game, Dave Stieb, 8 innings pitched a 3-hitter, only allowing that 1 run. And he improves to 6-2 on the season. So game 291 is in the books for Toronto. And we'll be looking for Monday for Cleveland and Boston. So that's going to do it from here this morning. Like I said, I may come back this afternoon and do a Demolition League game. Probably not, but it's not out of the question. But of course tonight I don't have to, but I choose to with my old high school buddy. We go to high school football games on Friday night just for the atmosphere and just for the remembering the good old times back when we were in high school. So we just do that. It's a Friday night thing, the guys' night out thing we do. So just something to do and just something we enjoy. So we'll be doing that tonight. The rain's supposed to hold off until late tonight, so there shouldn't be any problem with the weather. And we'll be doing that. And so tomorrow afternoon, if I don't play a demolition game tonight, then we'll be in Cleveland for tomorrow afternoon's game between the 1978 Yankees and Cleveland Indians on season ticket baseball in the NBC game of the week. Two more Saturdays left of the NBC game of the week, and then that project will be completed. Not going to do any playoffs or anything because it's not a 78 replay. It was just the NBC game of the week. And I want to focus more on these 2 lengthy replays I got going on Stratomatic. I want to give my time to that going forward. So what I'll probably do on Saturday afternoons or Saturday mornings or whatever is replace that with one of these games to help these replays move along a little faster. Particularly the Demolition League, because I want to get that done before the beginning of March, because the new cards will be out in mid-February, and I'd like to be able to move on to the 25 cards at that point. All right, so that's going to do it from here. Appreciate all you guys hanging around and keeping me company. I will, in case you're curious, I will change the thumbnail and the title after this post. I was just a little frustrated with what YouTube was doing to me this morning, but I will put it back to a more normal type of thumbnail and title going forward. So that's going to do it from here. Until next time, enjoy playing whatever game you choose to play, however you choose to play it, and I will see you all down the road.